Okay, you can see that we've got the red light on here on the microbit and the Keyestudio board. This shield is called a sensor shield. It doesn't say that on the shield, but it says that on the box that the shield came in, sensor shield. Now, I've got this program so that as the temperature on the board goes down, you can see it just went from blue to red. The different light comes on, blue as it gets colder and red as it gets warmer. Now I'm going to turn on my broadcast from the IoT board here, the Internet of Things board. When the green light comes on, that means that it's sending data to ThingSpeak. It takes a few seconds for the data to reach ThingSpeak. You'll see in just a few seconds that it will give a reading. There's the reading, 70 degrees. It says we have translated on this board the temperature from the received Celsius temperature to the board that translates it into Fahrenheit. Now, it's programmed to regularly, every 10 seconds, take a new reading. And this microbit is sensing temperature, sending that reading by radio. I'll show you the code to this microbit. Just went up to 72, changed from blue to red. You'll see that will be transmitted here. Every 10 seconds it's been transmitting 70, but that's going to go up to 72 on ThingSpeak because there it goes to 72. All right, and then it will go back down again as we chill down the microbit. Now, in this kit, this smart home kit, there are various sensors, including a temperature humidity sensor. What we're trying to do is test the board that will be installed on the house and some basic electronics to see how this whole system works before we assemble the house. All right, you're going to see that drop now. There it goes. The analytics here are quite powerful. ThingSpeak by this MatWorks has a lot of functionality. We are just beginning to understand what it is. All right, that's ThingSpeak. Here is what the kit assembly instructions look like, and you can see that the hardware has to be mounted on the pieces as you're assembling the kit. And what that means is, if we don't understand how the programming works, or if the hardware doesn't work properly, then we'll have a house all assembled. We have to go back and disassemble it. So that's why we're testing this board and some basic electronics. These are from my kit. These LEDs and wires are from my kit before we actually start assembling the house. Here is the code. By the way, we're watching the price of Brent crude oil on the world markets, just to show you what a real world graph looks like. Here's the price of Brent crude today, second by second, changing. Here's our code, and this is just the code in the DF Robot Micro IoT board that's sending a signal. This is the code block that says send the signal to ThingSpeak. This is the other code. I'll put both of these codes in the description of this video, that just says on this board change the LED color red or blue as the temperature changes, and send the sensed temperature over to this board. That's all this code says. For some reason, send shows 2 simulators, but receive only shows 1 simulator. Not that it really matters, but that's how that works. You'll have to have your own Wi-Fi name and your own password in order to get this IoT board to connect to the internet. And in our case, we're sending that data over here to ThingSpeak. There's a lot of charting that can be done. We can do spreadsheets with this data. We can share the data with other people. One of these videos I'll go through and explain how to set up a ThingSpeak account. It's free. You can use up to 8 charts, and you can have up to 4 different channels. You can have up to 4 different channels, and here's how I designated my different charts on each channel. So there'll be a lot more. This may seem like it's tedious going step by step, but what we're trying to do is make sure that our board works with the code that they're providing, and make sure that the hardware works before we assemble the house. Back to the code for just a second. This does not have to be in blocks. I've said before in other videos, you can do coding in make code with a type of Python and with a type of Java. These are Microsoft developments or blocks. And because we're seeing big numbers here, we have used this display extension, added that onto our micro IoT extension so that we can make our numbers bigger using 7-segment. The 7-segment part of this display show 7-segment number is what we use to get these numbers to be big on the little display. Otherwise, they're just small text. So there'll be more about all this.